Have you ever felt a presence in a room when you thought you were alone? Or heard a voice that wasn't yours, whispering from the back of your mind? For centuries, stories of spirit possession have haunted cultures all over the world. But today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing and chilling figures from Jewish folklore, the Dybbuk. What is a Dybbuk? Is it just a ghost? Or something far more sinister? Stick around as we uncover the secrets of this wandering soul. So, let's start with the basics. The word Dybbuk comes from a Hebrew word meaning to cling or to adhere. And that's exactly what a Dybbuk does. It's believed to be the dislocated soul of a dead person. A spirit that, for one reason or another, can't move on to the afterlife. Unlike a typical ghost that might haunt a location, a Dybbuk seeks to possess a living person clinging to their soul and body to experience life once more or to complete some unfinished business. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that just a possession? Well, yes and no. The concept of the Dybbuk is unique in its specifics. According to Jewish mysticism, particularly the Kabbalah, souls that have committed serious transgressions during their lifetime might be denied entry into the afterlife. They are left to wander the earth, filled with torment and desperation. Their only goal is to find a temporary home, a living host. Tura chonto! This isn't about a demon trying to cause chaos for the sake of it. It's about a human soul in profound anguish, looking for a way out of its suffering. So who is at risk of being possessed by a Dybbuk? Traditionally, it was believed that people who were emotionally or spiritually vulnerable were the most susceptible. Someone experiencing deep grief, doubt, or who has committed a sin of their own might inadvertently leave a door open for a Dybbuk to enter. It's said the Dybbuk often enters through the mouth as the person yawns or sighs, a moment of unguarded vulnerability. Once inside, the Dybbuk doesn't just sit quietly. It can manifest in several ways. The possessed person might suddenly speak in a different voice, display knowledge or skills they never had, or exhibit bizarre and erratic behavior. Sometimes, the host's body might contort into unnatural positions, or they might speak in foreign languages they've never learned. It's the Dybbuk's personality and memories merging with, and often overpowering, the hosts. One of the most famous accounts of a Dybbuk comes from the 16th century, recorded by the renowned Kabbalist Rabbi Chaim Vital. He documented the case of a woman in Saif, a city in what is now Israel, who was possessed by a spirit. The Dybbuk, speaking through her, identified itself as a sinful man who was seeking redemption. The community, led by the great Rabbi Isaac Luria, had to perform an elaborate and dangerous ritual to exorcise the spirit. This brings us to a crucial part of the Dybbuk legend, the exorcism. Getting rid of a Dybbuk is no simple task. It requires a complex ceremony, usually led by a tzedekah, a righteous and holy person, often a rabbi with deep knowledge of Kabbalah. The ritual is a spiritual negotiation and a confrontation. The exorcism team, typically a minion of 10 adult Jewish men, would surround the possessed individual. They would command the Dybbuk, in the name of God, to state its name and why it has possessed the person. The goal isn't just to forcibly evict the spirit, but to understand its plight. Why can't it find peace? What sin is it trying to atone for? The rabbis would then try to persuade the Dybbuk to leave voluntarily, promising to pray for its soul and help it find its rightful place. They would recite psalms, blow a shofar, a ram's horn, to use various holy names and incantations to weaken the spirit's hold. This was considered incredibly dangerous. If the ritual failed, the Dybbuk could become violent, harming the host or even the exorcists themselves. If it succeeded, the spirit would typically exit the body, often through a small toe or a finger, to cause the least amount of harm to the host, who would then be left weak but finally free. The idea of the Dybbuk really captured the public imagination in the early 20th century, thanks to a play by Esansky called The Dybbuk, or Between Two Worlds. The play tells the story of a young bride who becomes possessed by the spirit of her deceased beloved, a man she was promised to before birth. This play was a massive international success and cemented the Dybbuk as a central figure in Jewish folklore, blending horror, romance, and mysticism. It showed the Dybbuk not just as a monster, but as a tragic figure, born from broken promises and unfulfilled love. But what about in modern times? Are there still stories of Dybbuks today? While belief in Dybbuks has waned with the rise of modern science and psychology, the idea hasn't completely disappeared. Many phenomena once attributed to Dybbuk possession are now understood through the lens of mental health, like dissociative identity disorder, schizophrenia, or Tourette syndrome. This is a really important point. It's crucial to approach these topics with sensitivity and to encourage seeking professional medical and psychological help for such conditions. The folklore is fascinating, but people's well-being comes first. However, the Dybbuk's cultural legacy lives on. You can see its influence in horror movies, books, and even in the infamous Dybbuks. The Dybbuk box is a wine cabinet that was sold on eBay, and its owner claimed it was haunted by a Dybbuk. The story went viral, inspiring the 2012 horror film The Possession. While the authenticity of the Dybbuk box is heavily debated, its popularity shows just how much this ancient legend continues to fascinate and terrify us. It taps into our deepest fears. The loss of control. The idea that our bodies are not our own, and the possibility that the dead don't always rest in peace. So, the Dybbuk is much more than a simple ghost story. It's a complex and tragic figure from Jewish folklore that speaks to themes of sin, redemption, and the desperate yearning of a soul lost between worlds. It reflects a deep-seated belief that our actions in life have consequences that can follow us, and even others, after death. The Dybbuk is a wandering soul, clinging to the living world because it has nowhere else to go. It is a cautionary tale, a horror story, and a poignant tragedy, all rolled into one. It reminds us of the fragility of the boundary between life and death, and the powerful, sometimes frightening, ways the past can refuse to stay buried. What do you think? Do you believe in spirits like the Dybbuk, or is it purely the stuff of folklore and fiction? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the world of the Dybbuk. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more mysteries from around the world, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. See you in the next one!